Peace, love, and empowerment, beautiful people. I pray that this video finds you well and that you are out here achieving goals, getting the job done. LJ the Peacemaker here, doing peaceful things as always. Me, peace, I got some, and I'm willing to share. So please pardon all the background noise because one of the neighbors is doing construction. I guess that means I probably should have shot this video inside, but I like being out in the sunshine. Like with the sun just beaming right down on me, it feels so good. So I hope you can hear me okay. Am I coming in clear? Just kidding. Anyway, I'm pretty silly. I don't know if you've noticed that by now, but if you haven't, I'm gonna let you know. I am actually pretty silly. And my joy, my gladness, and the fun that I'm having is increasing by the day because I'm starting to allow myself to have fun and realizing that I deserve fun. And fun is a godly attribute. We're able to have fun because we were intended to. And so that leads me into today's topic, which is conduit of the divine. Woo! Who's the conduit of the divine? You are. I am. We are. We are conduits of the divine. God's presence, God's spirit flows through us. It lives within us. And so we are intended to allow it to flow through us. But so what would be the purpose of it flowing through us, if not for one another, for each other? You know, God has bestowed upon us this abundance of many things. You know, a lot of times we hear abundance and we think about primarily a financial aspect. However, that's only one thing. Money is only one thing in this world. And granted, it controls a lot. It definitely is a factor in your quality of living, in your comfort and your self-image, and it impacts pretty much every area of life. However, it's only one thing. So if this one thing is given that much power over every other aspect of your life, then it will dictate every other aspect of your life. But I want you to know that you are a conduit of the divine, and through that you have direct access to the abundance of God, which is what? Which is the fruits of the Spirit. Now, scripture, Galatians 5:22, talks about the fruit of the Spirit. And the fruits of the Spirit are joy, gladness, patience, kindness, self-control. There's 9 of them. I've written them down. Let me read them all so I don't miss one. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And so the fruit of the Spirit is bestowed upon us as a gift of the Spirit's presence being with us and living in us. So we have direct access to this flow of love, of God's love, meaning that God's love is pouring into us because we are the conduit, we are the vessel, we are the beings of God on the earth. And so it's for us to live in accordance with that. Now, the fruits of the Spirit, again, are in Galatians 5:22. But if we go down a little further to Galatians 5:25, which I love this, it says, if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. I love it. Now, if we live in the Spirit, then too, that would mean that the Spirit lives in us. And if the Spirit lives in us, then what would be the purpose of that? For the Spirit just to be there for no good reason? And granted, okay, the Spirit lives in us, so then it is for us to, by intentionally choose to walk in the Spirit. And how do we do that? Well, we walk in the Spirit by laying claim to the fruit of the Spirit, because through us laying claim to the Spirit and the Spirit being within us and us allowing it to flow, then the fruits of the Spirit are the gift of God that are bestowed upon us. And so again, the fruits of the Spirit are love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And granted, each of those things are necessary for us to live a happy, fulfilled, joyful life. However, if we really look at them, of what benefit are they, if not to be gifted to other people? Now, what do I mean by that exactly? Love. We all want love. We all want to feel loved. We all want to know that we're loved. And granted, the love of God is the ultimate love. And through that, we can obtain self-love. And once we love ourselves to a certain degree, to the full, to the overflow, then it starts pouring out of us and is bestowed upon other people. So what is love if not to be given or gifted to another? Interesting question. I mean, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Think about that for a second. What is love if not for the purpose of giving it to another? You know, what is the point of self-love? We love ourselves enough so we can feel happy, know we're worthy, and go after what we truly desire. But once we step into true self-love, we want to give love to other people. We become this vessel of love, this conduit of the divine. You are the vessel. You are the conduit. Now, let's go back into the fruits of the Spirit. Joy. Where does joy come from? Joy is something that's cultivated within us. And there's this ceaseless abundance of joy that flows through us. Again, it's a fruit of the Spirit, a spiritual gift bestowed upon us as we live in the Spirit and walk in it. Now, joy is not just happiness, because somebody could bring me a bouquet of roses and I'm happy. Then the roses died, now I'm sad. You know what I mean? Happiness can be conditional. Joy is something that is from the outpouring of your heart. It is this deep-seated, deep-rooted, deep-seated feeling of knowing that all is well. And that's where joy comes from. You know, when my daughter was little, I used to tickle her and I would say, see, well, when she was aggravated, I would tickle her and I would say, see, there's always joy on the inside. And joy lives within us and it's always there. It's for us to tap into it and acknowledge that it is there. Joy, laughter, gladness, these are things that are ceaseless. We have direct access in abundance through God because these gifts have been bestowed upon us, but it's for us to tap into them. So how do we tap into our joy? We remember all the things that God has already done. So if we remember when God saved you from that crisis, that tragedy a few years ago, then he saved you another time last year, then he saved you last month, you recognize that, oh snap, I could chill, I could be happy because look how God showed up right on schedule. And that allows you to sit in that joy of just knowing that all is well, that you are worthy. Because if God did it before, why would God not do it again? You matter that much. And you have the love of God because it is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Now, let's look at peace. Peace is a state of being. So peace is like one of the most blessed gifts as far as I'm concerned. And we all desire peace. But so if I'm in a peaceful state, that's great. And when you're alone, a lot of times it's easy to be in a peaceful state, depending on how you function. Sometimes you're in a more peaceful state when you're around other people. However, what is it that steals our peace? A lot of time is other people. So if we are receiving this peace as this free gift from God, then we recognize it's for us to be in this peaceful state in the world amidst other people. And so therefore, we exude this peace. It comes from us. It flows out of us. And again, we are the conduit of the divine because we're able to maintain our peace. We would not need peace if nothing was trying to take our peace. Then we'd just have it and all be in peace. However, Jesus said, my peace I give to you, my peace I leave with you. So it's important for us to understand that peace is something that can be shared. And sharing is all about other people. You know, who do you share with if nobody's there? You share with yourself? I mean, you can, I guess. You can get creative with it. But sharing is intended for other people. And so, patience. Why would we need patience? Granted, we do need patience with ourselves. All of these fruits of the Spirit are things that are necessary, again, for a happy and a healthy, productive life. And we do need them to be cultivated within ourselves. However, the main point is that you are a conduit of the divine. These gifts are flowing through you, and they're intended for you to pour out into the world, to be bestowed on others through you, because God is using you, and the Spirit lives in you, and it's for you to walk in it. And so, again, patience. Yes, we need to be patient with ourselves, but again, the main thing that be testing our patience are the people. The people be trying it, you know? And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love people. And I'm doing my due diligence to be the embodiment of the fruits of the Spirit so that I can love you to the fullest capacity that I'm possible. Love you fully as a conduit of God and be the vessel that God intended me to be. And that's how I'm able to share this with you, because I know that it's possible, but I too know that it requires a lot of work. But again, patience. Patience is intended to be shared, because how am I being patient if nothing is testing my patience? And if something is testing my patience and I'm able to maintain my patience, then I am then an example of patience to all those who are in the presence of me to behold such things. Is this making sense? Am I coming in loud and clear? I love that. That's from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where the original one, where Mike TV, the one who gets, I don't know, transmitted across the room like a chocolate bar into a real small size. He's like, "Mother, can you hear me? Am I coming in clear?" So anyway, that's part of my repertoire. I say that regularly. Anyway, that was a sidebar. Now, okay, we just finished talking about patience. Kindness. Again, kindness is necessary for ourselves. We have to be kind to ourselves. However, what is kindness if not bestowed onto another? Kindness is for other people. And I believe that these fruits of the Spirit are gifted to us so that we can begin to practice them and cultivate them within ourselves, towards ourselves, so that we become very skillful in the utilization of them so that we can share them out into the world, share them with others, and bestow them upon others. Because what is kindness if not to be given unto another? These are gifts of the Spirit, and gifts are intended to be gifted. And granted, they're gifted to us first, to us personally first, and then as we cultivate the gifts, we're walking around with all these gifts, and we have to gift them out into the world. Now, the next one is generosity. Again, all about sharing and giving of your bounty unto others. God is a giving God. And God intends to pour into you so that you can give out into the world. You are the vessel. You are the conduit of the divine. You're the conduit of heaven in the earth. You know, people say, "Oh, the earth, we're living in hell. This is hell." And it's like, it could be that if you choose it. You know what I'm saying? But I choose to live in heaven, to be a conduit of heaven, to experience these heavenly things, and to develop and cultivate these godly attributes within myself so that I could be here floating around on cloud 9. I mean, look at the choices. You want to be in heaven or in hell? It's really up to you, and you have the capacity to choose. God gave us free will, so choose wisely. But again, recognize that these are free gifts bestowed upon you by God. You have them in abundance, so we can always tap into them. Now let's continue. Faithfulness. faithfulness is like a major one, because we all want somebody to be faithful. God is faithful. You know, Psalm 91, one of my favorite verses in there says, his faithfulness is my bulwark. And bulwark is like a strong tower, a fortress, so to speak, a protective wall. And his faithfulness, we all want somebody faithful, somebody that shows up. That is a fruit of the Spirit, a gift. You are able to emulate that behavior and become like God, because God's faithfulness is his bulwark. Not his bulwark, your bulwark. His faithfulness protects you. And understanding that faithfulness is a fruit of the Spirit, this spiritual gift. And so as we step into faithfulness and we fully receive that gift, then we are emulating God. And what is faithfulness if we are not able to first show up for ourselves so that we can show up for others? You know? So these are all intended for you to fully embody, to live by the Spirit, and then walk in it, so that you are an example and so that you are able to bestow these gifts upon others. It's all for others. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, when you don't have nothing, nobody wants to hear that. It's like, if I only got $1 and somebody's asking me for my $1, that could get me real tight. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, yo, I don't got nothing. Get out of here. However, I really want you to understand that you do got it. You got it all. The abundance of God is pouring into you. It's been bestowed upon you. You know, these are the fruit of the Spirit, and the fruit of the Spirit dwell in the Spirit. Where does the Spirit dwell? The Spirit dwells in you. And as you make this conscious effort to walk in the Spirit, you have direct access to the unlimited supply of all of these fruits of the Spirit, of the love, of the joy, of the peace, of the patience, the kindness, the generosity, the faithfulness. And that leads into the next one, gentleness. Gentleness is a fruit of the Spirit, meaning it is a spiritual force to be gentle. Not to be harsh, not to be rough. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for everything. Don't get me wrong. But to be gentle, to give a gentle word at the most appropriate time. That's a supernatural experience. That is a spiritual force, a spiritual exercise. That's why everybody can't do it. Because you have to first make this conscious choice to walk in the Spirit, to allow the Spirit to flow through you. But as you do that, you have direct access to these things in abundance. And God uses you as the vessel to manifest his will in the earth. Because how else is God showing gentleness to the people who may not believe in particular? Through you. You the one. You the chosen one. You are here on divine assignment. So let's get to work. Let's get it. You know what I mean? Each one teach one, each one reach one. We all need each other. If we didn't need each other, then God would only put one person on the world. That's it. It would have been done complete. You don't need nobody else, so there's nobody else. But we're all in this together. And what we each do impacts the other. And it is for that purpose that God is using each one of us and flowing through us and bestows upon us these gifts so that we can ultimately master ourselves and wield these gifts like a sword to cut through the darkness and to shine the light of hope, of love, of peace, of joy, of patience, of gladness, of generosity, of gentleness, and ultimately of self-control. And that's the final fruit of the Spirit, self-control. And come on now, what a blessed gift is that? Like, don't we all want that? You know what I mean? I know that I have self-control, but who couldn't up-level their self-control? I feel like we all can. You know what I mean? This is a practiced art. All of these things require practice, and that comes from the walking it out. If we do not choose to embody these things, recognizing that we have direct access through them and understanding that our purpose and ultimately our true joy and gladness are wrapped all up in them, because as we allow these things to flow out of us, as we allow ourselves to be the conduit of the divine, then God's presence is activated within us, and we are living in accordance with our true purpose and our true nature, and we're making the world a better place. Now, self-control. What is self-control? Simply being able to control yourself. But the thing is, the world shows us all these thoughts, all these ideas, all these belief systems, all these ways of being, telling us this is right, if you do that, you're wrong, this, that. And so a lot of times we don't even know which one is ourselves. It's very hard to distinguish between all that stuff and what's really you. Why do you think this way? Why do you want to do that? Is it because somebody told you way back when you was 5? Or is it because you've come to this decision independently and autonomously? You know what I mean? That's real deep. But so self-control, the self-control that comes from God, is the ability to discern between all that stuff and to control the direction that you're moving in, recognizing that I'm fully controlling myself. My actions are aligned with my thoughts, and my thoughts are aligned with the will of God for me. And honestly, it requires the supernatural. It requires the Spirit of God, because otherwise we be all wrapped up in this mess, not knowing who we are, which way we're going, and not knowing ultimately what it means to be free, you know? And I decided to show you true freedom, to come here to speak to you openly, honestly, vulnerably, making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, getting tongue-tied, about to say this word, then fumble to another word, showing you authentically what it looks like to be a real person, to live in freedom, to live in the will of God, to show you how cool, how fly God is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we think that it's all wrapped up in church, and you gotta dress like this, you gotta read like this, you gotta pray like this, and it's like, nah, God is free-flowing. So not to say any of that stuff is wrong, but I'm not with that. I don't like people telling me what to do. And God made me like that. You know what I'm saying? It took me a long time to accept who I truly am. I'm extremely compliant. I follow rules, but they got to make sense to me. If it don't make sense to me, I'm not doing it. And that's just part of my makeup. And so I had to learn to master self-control within that. When am I just being rambunctious, and when am I actually standing for what I truly believe in, because this is my personal belief that I've cultivated for myself, you know? And that only came from me recognizing that the Spirit dwells within me, and as I practice listening to it, then I'm able to fully walk in it. And the purpose of walking in it is so that it can flow through you, so that you can be the vessel, so that you can be the embodiment of the divine, and ultimately the conduit, so that you can share the love, the joy, the peace, the patience, the generosity, the kindness, the gentleness, and the self-control with the world, because the people need it. The people need you. You know, I recognize that I come forth demonstrating these attributes, and I'm an example. And it's like, I never thought, oh, let me be an example to people. That was never it. But as we see somebody else doing something, it shows for us what is possible, you know? And I want you to know that so much is possible in you and through you. And God lives in you. And God is calling you to come forward, step fully into the Spirit, and be this conduit of the fruits of the Spirit in the earth. You are a conduit of the divine. I thank you so much for your time. I pray that this blesses you. And remember, if you have a bucket and you put a drop in it every day, then your bucket will inevitably overflow. So you make sure you put that drop in the bucket every day. Put a drop of love in your bucket, a drop of joy, a drop of kindness, and you will overflow. It's guaranteed. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. LJ the Peacemaker, eradicating poverty, one thought at a time. Peace.